Whoa. Hey, everyone. I don't really talk about gaming stuff much. I don't you guys don't really come to the channel for gaming stuff, but I've been keeping up with the latest releases for Arcade1up, which obviously you can tell I do. I don't know if I call myself a fan. I should probably get this guy going, probably power outage on that. I don't know if I would call myself a fan of Arcade1up, but I'm a purchaser of two of them, as you can see here. So when I bought, this was my first one I got, the Final Fight cab with Ghosts and Goblins and a couple other games in it. I got this guy for about, it was less than $100 on Black Friday. It was, I think, the price I paid for it. I think after taxes it was over $100, but the price I brought to the checkout was like 90 or like 80 or something. This guy, I think I paid $200 for. It was like $199. That was still also on sale. This was a couple years ago. Obviously, like this one I got in 2019 fall. This one I got in 2020, right before the pandemic hit. Like, it was like right during. And then obviously I've modded it, as you can see, and I've put some upgrades in it and all that. So this one, all in, to turn it into a main cabinet, essentially, was I think like $300 or $400. I've added a couple things here and there. I've switched out the system inside a couple times. So if I was gonna build this today and still pay for the base price at $200, it would have been about, let's just say $400, right? Maybe $350. Let's say $300 to $400 in the range, depending on how parts are costing that day. This guy was less than $100. Now, I don't expect anyone to ever be able to get one of these for less than $100, and that was without the riser. With the riser itself was like, I think like $40, so about $140 with the riser. I don't think anyone's going to get one of these machines for under $100 anymore. But with inflation, I just don't think that's going to happen. My point is, if you can see the pricing on these things in your head, I was getting in these things when they were probably at their cheapest. You don't ever see them sub 100 anymore, and that's fine. But the problem is, I've been keeping up with the latest Arcade1up releases because I do enjoy them, and I have been looking into getting one of the driving cabinets or one of the light gun cabinets, either like maybe Terminator 2, or I really want an Outrun, but Outrun sold out. I think you can still get Outrun with the stand-up, and I don't know why we get Outrun stand-up. You would want to sit down, so it's like you're actually driving the car, right? That's what you would want. Problem is, right now, all these new ones that come out are like $1,000. The price is not sub 100. It is now like $1,000 for all the new ones of these that come out. Now, they are much nicer built. They've got the risers built in, the lit marquee, the lit buttons, some of them have Wi-Fi built in, some of them have, instead of 4 games, they've got like 12 or 16 games, and the cabinets look more like the original cabinets, so they're doing a lot to make that $1,000 seem reasonable, but I think the problem is, at $1,000, we're getting close to, I could buy an arcade cabinet, like a real one, and fix it up kind of territory, You're not going to get maybe your exact favorite arcade cabinet, but if you want a real arcade cabinet, I think if you got a budget of $1,000, you're in there. And if you're building a main cabinet and you're like, you don't want one of these like expensive CRTs or whatever in there to like get that fixed, it's obviously PC CRT, but you get what I mean. If you don't want to put a CRT in there, like you can get, if you want to build a main cabinet and your budget's $1,000, dude, you're going to get a sick main cabinet. Like, you're going to have, like, one that's going to look exactly like, the MK2 cabinet or, whatever cabinet you want to look like. You're going to, when you get that budget to $1,000, you are really, really pushing what you can get. Now, you're obviously not going to get the light gun stuff or the, the driving stuff, but, man, you're going to get, a trackball, you're going to get a spinner, you're going to get everything. It's going to be awesome. I mean, you're not going to have this loose shithead trackball thing just laying around like a little bitch like I do. I gotta drill this thing in. It's gonna go right there one day. It's gonna go right there, like that. I could put it right here, but that would look kind of ugly. It might mess up the logo. I don't know if I want that. I don't know. For right now, it stays right here. That actually works a lot better than you might think. But, you're gonna get a really nice main cabinet for $1,000. Now, I just don't know. I know Arcade1up is officially licensed, but man, I think you can get even officially licensed replica cabinets for that price range. And you can get a lot more games. I think you might even get cheaper. Like, I know like when you look around for like the ones they sell to like pizza places and stuff with like a bunch of games on there, they sell those at like like slot machine places. They sell stuff like this, and you get that budget of $1,000, you're getting one of those territories. And I just don't know with the button and stick quality. I mean, their button stick quality is alright, but it's not Sanwa. It's not like the knockoffs. It's not even the knockoff Sanwas that I put in there in my other one, right? So I just don't think that I guess the decision is that they're making it a premium product line, but I don't really feel like there's a market for that, Whereas there was a market, in my opinion, for the budget arcade replica, where it was like, you get a base one of these for like, I think the base price of these were $250, and they would go on sale for $200, and you can get ones to this day that are like, I think some of the old ones, if you find them, you can still get them for $200. And at $200, that's a good deal. And maybe if you want to pay for a premium one, I would say inflation's bad right now. I think anything above $400 for one of these things is a ridiculous amount of money. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what the market is. I guess it's just fanboys who really like the line and they want to collect all their favorite games and stuff. They've got their whales that'll pay that money, but they were selling these things in Walmart, and they would sell them at Walmart. Like they weren't flying off the shelves because it's kind of a niche product, but when they priced these things right, they would go. They would sell, and they would sell relatively well. And if you wanted to build a main cabinet, there was a time when getting a Street Fighter cab or one of these Mortal Kombat cabs was literally the cheapest way to get a main cabinet pre-built. I mean, the cheapest way is always to build it yourself. But if you want, like, professional, decal work like this done on it with, like, paint and all that and, like, all this fancy shit like this, like, you were paying a decent amount of money for that, Obviously, you could just build it yourself if you had the skill and the time and the patience. But if you want something pre-built, like, this was a good deal. And now it's not a good deal. I just don't think it is a good deal anymore. And I think they really cut themselves, they kind of fucked themselves over. Because I don't see myself ever buying one of these things again. And I am a sucker. Like, I'm a literal sucker. Like, I have so many video games. Like, I will spend money on retro games. Like, I like old games. Like, I'm the market. I am the target market for this, right? And I even bought two. Because I came in at the right time. But if I was shopping for one now, I would definitely not go for it. I would maybe look at the MVSX, the Neo Geo one, and mod that. Or, the iArcade or whatever. There's some other ones you can mod, or the Act Games stuff, but even those are pretty expensive. All of them are. Like, $500 is too much. And anything above $400 is way too much for something like this. For this style, where it's not a real tube TV, it's a LCD or LED panel with like a board inside that's running these things on emulation. It's not real original hardware. Essentially, it's a big emulation box for arcade games, right? And, why in the fuck would I spend $500 on something like that? There's just no reason for me to. It's just too much for something like this. $200? When I bought this thing for $200, great deal. Even just with the Mortal Kombat games, it was a great deal. I put an extra $100 in, make it a main cabinet, awesome deal. They had a great setup there. And I think Arcade1up really, they're going in the wrong direction, And again, if you're a company who wants to scoop it on their thing, if you design something without the riser, because I think that might be one of their killers, although it was cheaper to ship than flat pack, just like this. They had an economical setup where, yeah, just this thing was not big enough. It was not good enough to be a full cabinet, right? But, the riser with that, it feels like a full arcade cabinet. It's close enough. It's a simulation enough. It's good enough to get there, and it's just not that. Now, that being said, if Arcade1up releases a good driving game, like if they release Virtua Racing, or like a Crazy Taxi Cabinet, or they release a light gun game that I actually like a Time Crisis. If Arcade1up releases a Time Crisis cabinet, and it's like $500, I'm probably gonna buy that. That's like, for something cool, like with the light gun tech, that's something you could charge premium for. You get a good driving sitting wheel with like a good, decent chair, because I think the chair kind of design looks kind of stupid, and I think people have said that's really uncomfortable. You get a good racing wheel combo setup for Virtua Racing, or Daytona USA. Oh man, Daytona. You could do, if you do Virtual Racing Daytona and Sega Rally Championship as like a 3-1, that I would pay like $500, $600 for. Really, I would. But it's got to feel right. Like the sit down's got to feel right. You got to design it so it's a good premium feeling. Because that's something you really can't get with, something like this. You cannot get light gun games easily. I mean, I could set up a Wii bar on this, but it would suck. Can't get good light gun game support or driving game support on this. You give that's a premium purchase. Just standard. I saw the new Mortal Kombat cabinet. It's like $1,000, right? Or it's like $1,000 for that Mortal Kombat cabinet. And man, all in on this thing with modding the original Mortal Kombat 2 thing, even with buying their light up bar from them, and the riser, and the custom riser decal, and getting striping for the riser, and putting a Raspberry Pi in there and modifying it. We're less than $1,000. We're like $400. So for less than half the price, I'm getting a way better experience. And yes, I can't play online, but man, I don't want to play online with people. Fuck that. If I'm playing my arcade cabinet, I want to play with someone here, right there, like the arcade's supposed to be. So yeah, I don't think this video is really for anyone on my channel. I don't think anyone gives a shit about gaming on my channel. But genuinely, I'm an enthusiast. I'm a retro tech and gaming enthusiast. I like video games too much. I've invested too much of my life and money in them. I'm the kind of guy who will buy your shit. Don't overcharge for this. Bring the prices down. Make your premium stuff, sure. Sell your premium stuff, sure. Have budget options. Do a re-release of that original Street Fighter 2 one, man. That one was super popular. Everyone loved that thing. Maybe have a new design. Maybe, get some new artwork. But charge like $250 for it. Charge $250 for a base style, couple of games, basic layout, no frills or features, just basic arcade cabinet. Start selling that again. Because that is worth it. Because I never modified Final Fight cabinet, this thing's awesome. The variety of games is great. People love playing it. It's fun. And I don't know what else to say. Video games are for losers. Don't play them. That's my message.